Hello! In this lesson, we're going to take a step back and just look at how your day actually runs, not how you wish it ran. And look, the goal here isn't to judge yourself. It's really just to see your real systems clearly, so that later on we can rebuild the ones that aren't quite working for you. All right, let's get into it.
So let's start with a question, and you'll see this in your workbook. Do you keep your entire life in your head? Just think about that for a second. Most of us do. It's like you're using your brain as the main calendar, the planner, and the to-do list for everything, all at the same time.
So, what does keeping it in your head really mean? Well, it means you're mentally juggling everything, right? What's due tomorrow, when practice is, which friends you promised to help, that quiz you know is coming up. It's all just kind of spinning around up there, not written down anywhere. Go ahead and take a moment now to write down what that phrase means to you in your workbook.
Now, what's really interesting is that for a while, this mental system, it can actually work pretty well. Especially if your schedule is lighter, you can kind of keep all those plates spinning. But as school gets heavier and you add activities, maybe a job or more responsibilities, that system eventually breaks. It works right up until the moment it doesn't.
A really helpful way to think about this is to picture your brain like a phone that has way too many apps open. At first, it's fine. But as you open more and more apps, more assignments, more dates to remember, more details, it starts to lag. And eventually, it can freeze up or even crash completely under the load.
So what are the signs that your mental system is crashing? Well, you might start forgetting small but important tasks. Or maybe you remember things but it's way too late, like right before you go to sleep. A really common one is feeling stressed even when you're supposed to be relaxing, because your brain is still trying to hold on to everything. So just think about your own life for a moment. In your workbook, go ahead and write down one sign you've noticed that tells you your own mental system might be getting a little overloaded.
Okay, so to fix this, we need to be able to see our day more clearly. Instead of it being one long, overwhelming blur, we can use a tool called day segments. These are just simple time blocks that break your day into pieces that are much easier to manage. This is how we go from feeling overwhelmed by the whole day to seeing the individual parts we can actually work with.
To do this, we'll break the day into 8 simple segments, from early morning all the way to late evening. Each one has its own kind of energy and its own default habits. Go ahead and take a moment to pause and fill in these descriptors in your workbook.
All right, now we're going to move to the next section in your workbook called Apply It, Map Your Day. Your goal here is to be completely honest about a totally normal school day, not your best day and not your worst. For each of those 8 segments, you'll simply answer the question, what usually happens here?
And remember, the goal is just honesty, not perfection.
So take a few minutes, pause this explainer, and fill out what usually happens in each of your 8-day segments. Just be as honest as you can. Now that you've mapped out your day, let's take what we call a system snapshot. In this next part of your workbook, the idea is to give each segment a one-word or maybe a short phrase that describes the system you're currently running. For example, your early morning might be chaotic, or it might be steady. Your late afternoon might be something like phone vortex, or maybe focused homework. Again, this isn't about being harsh, it's just about being clear. The whole point is to simply name what's really going on. Go ahead and pause here to give each of your 8 systems a short, descriptive name.
Okay, now we move to the final part of the page, reflection. The first question asks you to identify which part of your day feels like it has the weakest system. So look back at your map and your snapshot names. Which segment looks the most messy or maybe the most unclear to you?
The next question asks about a default habit you might have noticed. While you were mapping everything out, did you see a pattern that you hadn't really put a name to before? Maybe it's that you always put homework off until the last possible minute, or you always find yourself scrolling on your phone right after school.
And finally, think about the consequences. How might that one weak system, that messy segment, or that default habit, how might that ripple out and affect your schoolwork or your sleep or just your general stress level later on? Go ahead and take a few minutes to pause here and answer these 3 reflection questions honestly in your workbook. Let's recap what we uncovered today. First, remember that you're already using systems every single day, even if you didn't design them on purpose. We saw that the keep it all in your head system eventually fails under pressure. But by breaking your day into segments, you can finally see those hidden patterns. And maybe the most powerful takeaway? Just by giving a name to a weak system, you've already taken the very first step toward making it better.
Your final step for today is just to make sure you've finished all the parts of the Lesson 5.1 page in your workbook. When you're done with that, you'll be ready for our next lesson, where we'll explore exactly why systems collapse and what it takes to build stronger ones that can actually support you during those busy, messy weeks.